Hey, ladies.
Definitely not our women.
Our women
You're like,
don't listen.
wait, you're still doing that whole thing?
Welcome once again to Chill Filtered, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to. But you probably should, you probably are, and that's why we like you. On this week's episode, we are drinking something from Wilderness Trail. It's a rye. Rye to heck not. But before we get to that, let's talk about some fun things we got coming up. I believe next coming Sunday, we will do our next drink along with our Patreon listeners. And if you're not a Patreon subscriber and you want to join, patreon.com/chillfiltered. But it's fun. I think it's worth it. The $10 tier, you get in on monthly drink alongs, which we didn't do last month. Sorry. But we'll get to it this Sunday. And we got that coming up. We also have our Christmas extravaganza coming up next week where we open some gifts from listeners. And if you priority mailed, you might be in time to win some Elmer T. Lee or some Weller
Amazon.
2-day
shipping.
Dude, there you go. Yeah. So anyway, that's about it. Oh, but nonetheless, if you want to talk to us, which we'd love to talk to you, which we've had some good conversations this week, mostly cool. Hit us up on Instagram at Chillfiltered Podcast or just Chillfiltered.
I believe so.
Yeah,
I think
you can find us. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough of that. Cole, how you doing, bud? How you been? It's been a little while.
It's been a crazy week, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how deeply I should get into this, but I completely thought I was going to get fired yesterday.
Oh no.
And like it's funny because my boss set a one-on-one, which we do every quarter. He set it on Friday right before I left.
Oh, yeah.
Crap. And there were some things that like I mentioned before, he wanted me to like have these kind of new additions to what we're doing and stuff like that. And then there was like a recent thing I made a mistake on, and it was like not that big a deal, but it was like other people noticed and like other departments saw, and I was like, oh crap, let me fix that. I took care of it and all that stuff. But I was like, oh, here it comes. I'm just gonna get laid out, and not laid out, you know what I mean? But laid off in a intentional way. And it was funny. I was preparing. I hope my boss doesn't listen to this or my coworkers don't listen to this. But I was like preparing to like clean off my desk basically. And then I get to the one-on-one and it's like more complimentary than anything. He says like, you've improved on this. You've I have seen improvement in these areas and stuff like that. So it was like nothing. It was all improvement. It was all good.
Hopefully your boss is listening because he realizes, the scheduling, the time I scheduled that is like prime fire time. Like,
yeah, exactly. And so I had told Heather, I'm worried about this. I told some
that's a lot of weight to
confidant
carry.
people. Yeah. And I was like, all right, like maybe I should be applying for other stuff right now. And then turns out it's like all good news. And my boss is telling me about the next quarter and what to expect. And, like if he were, planning on firing me, he wouldn't be so talking about the upcoming projects I'll be working on and stuff like that. So I'm like, dang, guess I was wrong. So it was a little emotional this week, but what's that?
Well, I'm glad you were wrong.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm sorry you had to carry. That is a lot to carry though, man. Like that's a lot on someone's mind.
And we were potentially going to record yesterday. So we're recording on a Saturday this week, and we were potentially going to record after work on Friday. And I was like, you know what? Better not do Friday this week, just in case. And so that was kind of funny. And then it turned out we had already planned on Saturday. But otherwise, I feel like I'm falling behind on Christmas gifts. Mostly because at this moment I have 20 pending jewelry orders that I need to get out by next Monday. So
boy.
What, 10 days? No. 9 days to pull out 20 jewelry orders. So it's getting a little crazy. I do have like a surplus of money now because of all these orders of my macaroni art. But it's like good and bad because it's like this weekend is like so busy for me. I'm just going from making jewelry to like somewhat seeing Heather and Beck every hour or two, just like stepping in and be like, hey, it's good to see you. I gotta go back to the garage. Yeah. So I took off Monday this week upcoming just so I can spend the whole day making jewelry. So hopefully that'll make up for some of it as well. But yeah, I feel like besides you, um, and a little bit of Heather, I feel like I'm really falling behind with Christmas gifts. Even like Beck, where we're like, all right, we gotta buy her this and this and this, and like, and the thing about like a 1.5-year-old is you just you can just buy a bunch of small things, a bunch of toys and stuff, and that's good.
Yeah.
But my family, my wife's family, we've shopped a little bit, but I also feel like normally by this point we're done shopping. And but it's exciting. Like I always, like I said, I'm a gift guy. I love
You are.
giving gifts. I love receiving gifts, but
He's a question
I want to
asker
be
and a gift guy.
intentional. I'm really excited for you to open your gift.
It's huge. I
Yeah,
have no
it is
idea
huge.
what
It's probably heavy.
it is heavy too.
Yeah.
Did you send me a case of Eagle Rare?
I sent you a case of Blands. The Blantos. No, I could do that because I got a case in my closet. So, but yeah, life is feeling a lot better. I feel really confident today just because of yesterday. Because yesterday, in the beginning of the meeting, I was like ready to expect anything. Because if you're gonna fire someone, you're not gonna go through half a meeting and then be like, "All right, we're gonna fire you."
Well, you sit down. Did you sit down? And he's like, "Hey, Cole, thanks for coming." I'm like, "You can't fire me. I quit."
Yeah. I like literally thought like maybe I should do that, but I was like, no, play it out. And my boss was just he was so nonchalant about the beginning of the meeting that I was like, I might still have my job today. So I did. So that was great. But yeah, I'm really excited. Less than 2 weeks from today, we will be when we're recording. My family will be all in town, and we'll be eating good food and having good fun, watching Christmas movies with my nieces, and they'll all be hanging out with Beck, and good things ahead. It's gonna be just a fun time.
This is a fun season. I love
it.
Like the stretch from Thanksgiving's my favorite. I prefer Thanksgiving to Christmas in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Lame.
Well, there's just a lot of
there's everything on Thanksgiving is also on Christmas, but Christmas has more, in my opinion.
But there's also a lot more anxiety over it too.
No, that's true.
Like gift wise,
forget that. Just don't worry. It's easy.
Oh man. Oh, done. I love Christmas. Yeah. But anyway, that's Thanksgiving's my favorite. So that stretch from like when Thanksgiving break starts to like New Year's and come like it's my favorite stretch like of school. Like there's like a palpable excitement in the air and just everything coming up. I'm excited. No, tonight we are gonna go like at the fairgrounds. They do a big light show thing where you drive through and it's like all around your car.
Nice.
And the twins are really excited about that.
Nice.
And it's cute. Jeannie this morning was like, "Remember last year, Dad? I saw a lit up Olaf. That was crazy. I bet he's gonna be there again." So like, I'm like, that was crazy.
Great.
Huh? Yeah.
Oh, your kids are so cute.
I feel like I just hijacked and transitioned to how's Robby doing. Is that okay?
No, I was ready for you to do it.
Okay, perfect. Similarly, so you were complaining about your lip. I have a lip issue today as well, Cole. Did I mention my nightly routine with the girls now where we wrestle every night?
No.
Okay. Well, that's our new thing now.
Roughhousing.
They love it, man. So like they'll wake up in the morning and be like, "Hey, we're gonna fight tonight, right, Dad?" I'm like, "Yeah, we'll fight tonight." So and then it's like a good little fisticuff. So it's fun. We'll go up in after dinner. We'll go up in the bonus room, and I get to choose the music. So I get to choose the fighting music.
Please tell me.
Which is so right now the big one is we always start to Never Fight a Man with a Perm by Idols.
Nice.
And it's got this breakdown that goes concrete to leather, and the twins love it because if you have the ball, this little green ball during that time, you are invincible.
Nice.
Yeah. So like they like whoever one of them has the ball, they take turns on 2 different times, and they just beat the crap out of Dad. And it's fun. We got the bunk, like they have a little bunk bed in there, and they'll get on the top of it and they go top rope, and they jump off, and I fly all over the place,
like body slam you.
Oh yeah, it's fun. We like all the squishmallows. It's honestly a lot of fun, but there was an injury, and it was me. I got a fat lip like 4 days ago. There was blood all over the place.
Did she like punch your face?
No, I think someone stood up and hit like I tackled one of them, and they hit. head went back and got me in the lip really well. But I didn't I knew I got hit pretty good, and we kept wrestling. And then I look over and there's blood all over their arms and stuff. But I was like, oh, we got to be done. So
That's funny.
It is fun. I love it, man. It's a good time. Like I don't know. And it's
you ever see? There's a YouTube video called "Man vs. Kids 2."
No,
and it is glorious YouTube content. I'm gonna send it to you, like now, but you don't watch it now.
I won't watch it now.
Yeah,
I will not. No, man.
Good. Brian Rapp got back to me.
Okay.
Nice.
But no.
Okay, go on.
No. That's our new nightly routine, and like we're starting to get
Nice.
snow now and stuff like that, and got the tree up, and the elf's been coming at night.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So I don't know.
Has it been hard for them to find the elf and stuff like that?
No, they're really good at it. Like they spot it fast. Like, yeah, it was on a whiskey bottle the other day, and that was funny. Yeah. So, but we don't do like the whole elf. Our elf doesn't do the thing like where it's like, oh, he made a huge mess and he pooped in the toilet and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So, he just moves.
He's just places.
He just moves places. Yeah, and I like that.
Different spots.
And we often make the thread of like, oh, you gonna say that? You can have that attitude because that elf is watching.
So, he's telling Santa.
Cole, what do you entry about tonight?
Tin Cup tenure.
Nice.
It's just so agreeable. Like it is just Glenlivet 12. Do I see?
Yeah. And you know what? And I
get that mini.
Where'd I get this mini? Well, let me tell you. Nice segue into what I want to say with a little bit of homework for the listeners. So I'm gonna say, gosh, it was a few months ago. Might have been this summer, but we were, I was just checking in the liquor store, see what they had, and Finley was with me. She's like, Dad, I get to pick your whiskey, and I was like, oh,
nice.
And I was like, okay, well, like there was nothing there like I wanted that I could steer her towards a big ball. I was like, why don't you just pick me out one of these little ones? So that's what she picked for me.
Nice.
But I'm gonna give a little bit of homework, and it'll be an upcoming what whiskey would you choose at some point. So parents, if you're okay with taking your kid into the liquor store, if you're okay with taking your kid into the liquor store or taking a random child, just find a kid, say, take them to a liquor store.
Yeah,
parks and schools are good places to grab them, and go to the liquor store and say, pick out a bottle for me and see what your kid picks up. A mini, it could be a regular size bottle too. I don't know.
Bottle.
Whatever works. You are the parent or the abductor, and you make you have the child do that. You tell them what you want, size to pick. And upcoming, what whiskey would you choose? What whiskey did your kid choose for you? I think that's
we have never done Glenlivet on the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm about to have it for my entry buzz. Thanks to Finley Sue.
We should do Glenlivet. It's kind of like the standard single malt whiskey or scotch.
I used the wrong Glencairn, so now I got to go get another clean Glencairn after this.
It's all good.
I was going to use the old Glencairn. Well, that's fine. I'll do it. I'll walk on I'll walk to get it.
Oh, that sounds good. So, but is there anything else you want to talk about? How beautiful I am today?
You are beautiful. I'm having issues here. You see this? Can you see this one stray?
I guess, but it's not that big a deal. I never noticed it until now.
I'm fixated on it now, and I'm trying to. I got
fixated my
way
lip.
Too long. Also, I'm extra beautiful today because Finley Sue did my hair before the podcast. She put a bunch of gel in my. Now I got like a gel helmet now because she put a bunch of gel in my hair and like.
That's funny.
She's like, "You want a mohawk, Dad? Because you'll look cool."
Wait, is there a mohawk?
There's not. No, it's all flattened down now.
Yeah,
that's too bad. I did have a mohawk there for a little bit, but she was like, "Oh, what a cute kid." Oh, it was fun.
Hey, how was Vegas?
Oh, did I never talk about Vegas?
I don't think so.
Oh, we recorded since then, didn't we?
I think. No, I think maybe you said you went to art galleries and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Nice. I talked about. Did I tell you about? I told you about the homeless lady I saw wiping herself. Yeah.
And what that
outside Flavortown
Street. Where?
It was outside Flavortown, man. Guy Fieri's
that's great.
Yeah, I
just straight up wiping her booty.
Coming out of the Link Casino at about 8:00 in the morning, and I could tell something was going on. And I come around the corner, and there's this large homeless lady, completely nude, just wiping herself.
Completely. Oh my goodness.
Well, she had socks on her shoes or something.
Dang, it's only a matter of time,
dude. It's getting. So it used to. It's getting. I told you I got shook down a little bit too, right? I had to buy the
No.
CD. I didn't tell you this. Oh
No.
man, so it's getting interesting. So like, there's a lot of like unlicensed vendors there now. Like they're
Okay. Like on the
like selling,
streets?
like selling hot dogs or like
Huh.
pushing albums on you. And it was early morning. I was by myself, and a group of dudes came around me like, "Hey, you wanna buy our mixtape?" And or you want to? And like, no, I'm okay. No, no, no. And I got like
They're like,
to the
"You're gonna
point where
wanna buy our
I felt
mixtape."
I felt uncomfortable enough. Where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to see if this progresses. Sure, I'll buy
Yeah.
the mixtape.
Yeah.
And then like we walking into Harrah's, like there's this homeless dude passed out like right in the doorway. So it used to be like stuff like that wasn't on the strip. Like they did a really good
Yeah. You
job of
get
being
that
like
on that
Fremont
one
Street
street.
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, and not even so much there, but like it's getting kind of sketchy. One cool thing about
Weird.
Vegas I
Yeah,
want to
you'd
mention
think the
is
security would be on top of that kind of stuff.
yeah, it's just I don't know. But one cool thing is Stone Temple Pilots played a free show at Fremont Street when we were there. That was kind of neat.
Who leads that these days?
Gosh, I can't remember. I don't know. But
It
I did see.
used to be Chester Bennington after Scott Weiland for a little bit.
Was it? I don't even remember that.
Now they're both dead.
Yeah, I did see Stone
Rest
Temple
in
Pilots like
peace.
2002 or 3
With Scott Weiland?
with Scott Weiland, and he like
Oh, that'd be a dream.
talk about like I always liked Stone Temple Pilots, but when I saw
Yeah.
him, dude could control a crowd. Like
Wow.
he just had a presence to him, man. It was crazy. It was good.
That's great.
Yeah.
Dude, I got it. Like one of the greatest songs of the 1990s is Plush by Stone Temple Pilots. Like it is just perfection in the 90s alternative realm.
Which one's that? How's that go? That's
When I feel
Yes.
it must be dead. Yeah.
Dogs begin to find her. Got time to wait for tomorrow.
It's so good.
Ba-na-na-na. Yeah.
To find it.
To find it.
To find it. Anyway, Scott Weiland.
They use that
Rest in
on
peace.
they used that on the Crow soundtrack too, didn't they?
I don't know, but I wouldn't
I
be
think it
surprised.
was
They
on
got
the
a
Crow
good
soundtrack.
soundtrack apparently for that. That had
Oh, the
some
Crow
like
soundtrack
what
was
else did that
really
have?
good.
Like 9 Inch Nails or something?
I
Or
don't even remember.
now I gotta look it up. Crow soundtrack. Crow.
The Crow. I think they're remaking that too as a TV show or something.
I've never even heard of like what it actually is. Yeah, there was 9 Inch Nails. There was Big Empty by Stone Temple Pilots.
Big
The
Empty,
Cure,
that's right.
Burn, Rage Against the Machine. What else?
I love that movie. To
Violent
be honest.
Femmes.
It's a really good movie. I really enjoy it. It's kind of cheesy and stuff,
Pantera.
but it's great.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you ever watched The Crow?
You know what I watched the other day? We'll probably end our shooting the breeze soon, but I watched that musical with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell.
Oh yeah, was that good?
You know, for a musical, it was actually really good.
It's
I'm not like a huge musical fan.
Yeah, same.
But it was actually really good.
Is it a Christmas thing? Is it a Christmas movie?
Totally.
Okay,
Yeah.
we were going to watch
it.
it.
Like a spin-off of A Christmas Carol.
Gotcha. I'm excited. We started last night. It's my new favorite Christmas movie, 8-Bit Christmas. Have you seen that?
No.
It's really good.
Old?
Nope, it came out last year.
Okay.
And it's about a kid who really wants to get a Nintendo. So it's like set in the 80s, and it's
nice.
I like it a lot. It's good.
That sounds great.
It is good. It's got what's his face from the Oneaters and Saving Silverman.
Oh,
Steve Zahn. I love Steve Zahn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steve Zahn. I know who that is.
Anyway, we should probably take a walk.
Probably should go for a walk. You can grab your Glencairns on that walk, and I'll
try to
just walk
pluck this
outside
beard
and
hair.
back.
Yeah.
So with that, listeners, we'll be right back. We'll talk about Wilderness Trail a little bit, and then we'll drink. So we'll be right back now. We are back. What a nice walk.
Mm-hmm.
Some notes to get to, mostly shout outs this week. First, shout out to Brian Rapp sharing what we're drinking today. Actually, Brian Rapp's, thank you, sir. Brian Rapp's package is getting couriered today, or is getting delivered by the courier for me today. He's got something for Chris Masty. and I don't know why I just called it that. But yeah, that's the first shout out. Another shout out to Marco in AZ. One, he introduced me to Wilderness Trail. But secondly, he was willing to be the middleman for a courier, or for the courier, for myself and Bryce Marita for some Del Bach goodies, because they only ship in the state of Arizona, or at least mostly just in the state of Arizona. So Marco in AZ is in Arizona, and he was willing to be a middleman.
Speaking of
and
which,
then hand it off to the courier.
I had a lady substitute in my class today. She just moved here from Gilbert, Arizona.
Ah, where I used to live.
She was a realtor. Ann Larson. Was she your realtor?
No.
Okay.
But good for her. I
that
mean,
would have been crazy.
The Boise area. Yeah, that would have been insane. And shout out to another guy, Kent Cheeseman. You might have heard this name before. He is the CEO of Whiskey Del Bach. Thanks, Kent, for hooking us up with a Del Bach Sentinel Rye, which is apparently completely sold out, the first edition, basically. But he took care of us and knows what big fanboys we are of Del Bach, so he got us one of those. And we'll do an episode on that very soon. Another shout out to Drew Tolan, who we heard from this week. We haven't heard from him in a while, so we're glad to hear from you, Drew.
And it was one of my parenting hacks, and I felt good about myself. I sent the screenshot to Chelsea, and she's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." I'm like, "What?" I go,
"This is one of our fans."
I go, "Amara, do you remember doing that?" She's like, "Yeah, that was fun." So,
that's great.
Yeah. I'm glad Amara remembered. Otherwise, I'd be like, "Did I actually do that?"
or else you would have been all alone. You'd be like, "I think we did that."
It's just like like a Sixth Sense thing where I'm just having a ghost right all over my back.
Yeah, you're like,
or it's like a fight. I know it's a Fight Club thing where I just laid on the floor and drill over my back.
Yeah.
My name was Robert Dedlow.
His name was Robert Dedlow.
Paulson.
In death, a member of Project Mayhem does have a name. His name was Robert Dedlow. Anyway, that movie's so good. Some people are like, it's overrated. No, it's not overrated. It's just overloved, and that's okay. It's just worth the love.
What's the Bonham gal's name? Mary Bonham.
Helena Bonham Carter.
She is on that Enola Holmes movie.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's really good.
She is great. She's very
movie's
dynamic
not that
too.
Great, but that she's great.
Okay, she is great.
She's dynamic.
She was in like the King's Speech and did a great like drama role. Like she's great. You know, my only bone to pick with Fight Club, I'm not even afraid to go there. My only bone to pick with Fight Club was that I read the book, or at least the beginning of the book, and Marla Singer was like gorgeous in the book, but like Helena Bonham Carter's role of Marla Singer was more like weird and like
I almost said Hillary Duff. That's not her name. Kurt Cobain's wife.
Courtney Love.
Courtney Love. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
gosh,
and I don't think
how would a Kurt
she
Cobain
was like,
turned out if he'd married Hillary Duff instead of her?
He might still be around. No, I
might
told
be
you
in
this,
jail.
Robby.
She was a kid when he got married.
I'll listen to Hole, and I know your opinion on Hole, and I get it, especially when I heard the isolated vocals that you showed me. But I actually prefer listening to Hole than to Nirvana. I think Nirvana is kind of overrated. I do think Nirvana's good. Don't get me wrong.
You weren't there.
I do think Nirvana's good. I just would rather listen to Hole than Nirvana because it's just overplayed to me.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You were just what year were you born?
I was a wee lad in the 90s. I was born in 1990.
Yeah, so like
he died when I was 4.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So like previous to that, it was music was not as fun.
I could understand that. And the respect I have for Kurt Cobain and Nirvana well exceeds my respect for Courtney Love and Hole. But I just kind of prefer listening to Hole.
Well, you need to make yourself over to listen to Nirvana. I don't know. Make me over. Anyway, back to the whiskey.
I wanna be All right. So anyway, one more shout
Yeah.
out to all the peeps sending us Christmas packages. I showed my wife the cabinet, or like it's on my whiskey cabinet on the sides. I was like, all these are from listeners and Robby. And so
It's impressive. Yeah, no, I'm excited.
we have some great listeners.
We do. So it's funny because
I hope some of those listeners, I know some of those listeners will be getting a bottle of Emberty Lee and Weller 12 because they're awesome.
So it's funny. Amara had like a thing she had to do for school where she had to upload it to like this school's website, and then kids had to watch it to like take notes from her teaching them. She's like, Dad, I'm up to 100 views. And I was like, really? Because you make fun of me for not being like some big YouTube star.
Yeah.
But I was like, then look at all these gifts I got. And she's like,
yeah. do your viewers send you gifts, Amara? I don't think so.
Well, it's cool though. Like Chelsea was like kind of like, you got another thing? I'm like, I did?
Yeah,
we got some great folks out there. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Great folks out there.
We do. You know, we're not the biggest podcast YouTube whiskey thing in the world.
We're not.
Man, we got some great listeners. We really do
have some great listeners, and that's what keeps us going. I think it was Brian Rapp the other day. I was like, Brian, you're the type of person, you're the type of listener that just keeps us going on this podcast. So we'll give proper shout outs for those gifts next week on the Christmas episode. But just wanted to say thank you for the people that are so kind. As to send us
even if you don't send us and you just hit us up. Like, I love the dialogue.
You're awesome.
I love it. Also, Cole, just one thing of it. So we'll have the Christmas episode, and then we got to do the chilies.
The chilies for the year.
That'll be our last episode of the year. We got to do our chilies, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. We got to prep.
So
anyway, as Robby mentioned, we'll do a drink along this coming weekend. And I think we're going to do the Elijah Craig, but we might do the Bookers. I think it was between those two. So anyway, this is our third episode on Wilderness Trail Rye. Did we mention what we're drinking today? Wilderness Trail Rye 8-year?
We did.
Bottle and Bond?
Yes. Okay, I don't know if I said 8-year bottle and bond, but I did say Wilderness Trail Rye. Because rye to heck not.
Rye to heck not. Episode 147, we drank the single barrel bourbon, which I remember was delicious. And also delicious was the straight rye at barrel proof for episode 199 that we drank. So we've talked history before of Wilderness Trail, but I'll try not to overlap too much. So let's talk about the distillery. So it started up in Danville, Kentucky in 2012 by the Yeasty Boys, Shane Baker and Pat Heist.
Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego.
What was it? Like S Rock and Pat H for Shane Baker and Pat Heist. Anyway, I say that they're the Yeasty Boys because these guys are known for their specific, like, professional depth of knowledge of yeast and proprietary yeast strains. And that proprietary, also their proprietary infusion mashing process, which is really what sets those guys apart in Kentucky and even just the bourbon scene and rye scene. They are really good at making like good stuff these days with those methods. And I really respect that their first product they ever put out was a bottled in bond bourbon, which means they didn't release anything until 4 years at least after 2012. So I thought that was great. We've mentioned this before. Yeast is a bigger deal than most people imagine. Just look at the differences between Four Roses recipes. There are 10 recipes, 5 for one mash bill and 5 for another. And the fact is that the difference between each one of those 5 is the yeast strain. So it's hugely noticeable on the end. So with their infusing mashing process, it produces a softer palate whiskey, which I can attest to and really do like their products, to be honest, because it does have a softer palate and much more like I remember the wheated bourbon had notes of like strawberry, but like soft candy, like almost like strawberry syrup. All this to say, These guys are true bourbon professionals at Wilderness Trail. They also own the parent company of the distillery, which is called Firm Solutions, FERM, as in fermentation, which is a long-standing provider of basically advanced alcohol-related yeast strains. They grow them and strain them and whatever they do for those yeast strains. They're basically also a front runner in yeast-related molecular and genetic engineering techniques. The main offerings
sounds like Skynet type stuff.
Yeah,
The yeast just
in the
became
bourbon world,
self-aware.
yeah, totally. That yeast did. Their main offerings are a bottled and bond straight bourbon, which is a wheat recipe bourbon, and a bottled and bond small batch straight rye. They also have the high rye bourbon, also bottled and bond. Most of their stuff these days is bottled and bond. They do have a few, like we drank the rye last time that was not bottled in bonds, but I think nowadays it's mostly just standard bottled in bond. Recently they put out a silver and black label bourbon. The silver label bourbon is the wheated recipe bourbon, but it's a 6-year, and the black label is an 8-year of their rye recipe bourbon. So they also do a vodka called Blue Heron, and there's an umlaut over the U in Blue Heron, which is apparently distilled from their bourbon distillate, and then they crank it up to high proof and then water it down like a vodka. They apparently might have also done a rum historically, but I didn't find that on their updated website. On their website, you won't find what we're drinking today. I believe Brian reached out and said this was a very rare release. And he said that it was basically a distillery only release, and there was a very small distribution outside of basically just the distillery release.
That makes sense.
So let's talk about what we're drinking today. It is Wilderness Trail Bottled and Bond 8-year rye. I'm guessing it's the same mash bill as their Bottled and Bond younger rye, the green label rye, which is 56% rye, 33% corn, and 11% malted barley. It is an 8-year, which is very high end of their age range for a company that only started in 2012. So that's pretty awesome. It is bottled in bond, so 100 proof for sure, as well as a few other things standardized. Thanks to Brian again for sharing it. I believe Brian said he got it for $90, and I have a feeling this is going to be amazing. So let's pour it out for the homies.
Oh man, I got to be honest. As you're talking, I do have the World Cup on my phone.
Who's playing?
Morocco and Portugal right now.
Yo, did you see how well Japan did this year?
They did great.
They and it killed me because even Croatia, who beat Brazil, they tied Croatia until the penalty kicks. Or not, what do they call them? What are they? It's not penalty kicks at the end. What do they call them?
Yeah. Oh, not penalty. It's
kick off. I don't know.
What is it called? PK
shootout. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think it is PK.
I think so.
I don't know, but it was they got swept with the penalty kicks, but I was really proud of my boys from Japan this year. They beat Germany, they beat Spain, and they almost beat Croatia, who then beat Brazil.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, my boys from the Netherlands lost yesterday. It was a crazy game. They lost yesterday. Yeah, they played Argentina, and they were down 2-0 going into the second half. And like the last 10 minutes of regulation, they got 2 goals. Or they got a goal, and then in extra time, they got another goal. The benches got cleared twice because Argentina guy kicked the ball into the Netherlands team on the sideline.
Wow!
Cleared the benches, and then they went to
I love
shootout.
The
they went to a shootout at the end. Is that what it's called?
That's what I said, shootout. Yeah, okay. That's what I mentioned. But yeah, whatever.
I don't know. It's fine. Anyway, light nose.
It is. It's actually not very potent in any, like even in the notes. I'm not getting much
It's not vapory. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's
I
not.
mean,
There's not a lot going on the nose.
slight
There's something there, but
apple,
it's like
slight
barely.
apple
Yeah,
sweetness.
apples probably. So I'll go for a sip.
Very, very minimal on the rye kind of spice on the nose, but it's a really light nose, especially for being bonded and 8 years. What are you getting, Cole?
Podcast. I do have to talk.
I can
really good finish. The palate's interesting. It's not blowing my mind on the palate, but the finish, like how it's kind of faded off, is actually pretty good.
I will say the finish is the best part of this so far.
Yeah.
That being said, it's pleasant. It's a very pleasant rye.
Yeah.
Just kind of middle of the road milk toast.
Would you call this a soft palate? Not like your soft palate on your mouth, but would you call it that?
Absolutely. It's very delicate. It's it doesn't hit you with any huge notes. It doesn't get to that hot point like a bonded whiskey can. Nice mild sweetness, very light, a little bit of fruity on the beginning, and then the back end of the palate it kind of brightens a little bit into a rye spice, and then it's just like it's like a mother tucking her love child in. It's like, hey,
the old love child.
I'll see you later.
I love the phrase "love child." Like, she had an affair, and now she has this love child, or something like that. I don't know.
If it was really a love child, that guy would have stuck around.
He would have stuck around,
but it wasn't.
And
love.
Moved in with the other.
More like husband. a lust child.
Yeah, the old lust child. I was talking to a friend recently, and they said that her dad took a what are they? One of those tests, those blood tests. Yeah, like 23andMe, and goes to his mom and says, "Mom, Dad always said he was 100% Swedish, but there's no Swedish on my ancestry test." And she goes, and she's like shook by it. She's like,
"Uh-oh.
I thought I would go to the grave with this, but you and your sister are both born out of an affair." And I was like, dang, that's crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, both kids that you had with your husband, and her husband died and never knew that she had an affair with him and had 2 kids out of the affair.
Oh, man.
My goodness.
That's awful.
That'd be crazy. And he's like this like upstanding church member who like is like, and then it gets crazy where you're like, your real dad, he wasn't sadly alive either. He had passed as well, like the
never even got to meet
biological dad. Yeah, I never got to meet him. And then also his family was kind of like, like the family of his biological father was like, I don't even know if we want to know you. Because of it's just crazy.
Oh, that's sad.
It is.
You know what's not sad is how good this is. I'm liking this so far.
No, I gotta go for another sip.
So my second sip was similar to the first, real soft. It's good. It's pleasant. This is a pleasant whiskey for sure.
I will say this. Go ahead.
This could be a dangerous one though. Like you could sit down and throw back a lot of this, and then stand up and be like, "Oh my goodness, I can get you." Water wise, water wise, I'm getting a little bit more like a berry on the nose.
Ooh, berry is a great note. Even on the palate, light, fresh berries. Let's give it the old spinjay.
The old Matt job. Yeah, making this whiskey dizzy.
Making it dizzy. Shout out to Willow.
So speaking of Willow, Dram Pub,
yeah.
Chelsea was like, I was just mentioning how one thing I like about this podcast is someday when I'm dead, my wife might listen to it. So I love you, Chelsea, from the grave.
Yeah, that's great. I gotta use that.
And she goes, when you're dead, it probably won't be on servers anymore. I'm like, no.
Send it off forever.
You know what? What would be awesome is we pass it along onto our daughters.
Yeah.
And Chill Filter lives forever. And then Willow can be the next
be the guest
John
appearance
Hughes.
every now and
then. Yeah. And she'll have her own thing. and it just lives on.
That'd be great. Like
Yeah.
Beck and your twins and Amara like take it over one day, and they're like change the
Yeah.
name or something. Chill Filtered with the girls or something like that.
No, it just stays Chill Filtered, and you don't
That's
even
good.
have to
That's good.
change. It could go back to the original logo, like Rosted Seabald, just be Seabald Deadlow.
Yeah, and
And
that's it. Yeah.
Yep. And
It's
then
like
when they go to
a
get
monarchy.
married, they can't take their husband's name
It's true.
because of the podcast.
Yeah. Seaballs live forever, and so do the Deadlows.
I'm really hoping my girls don't take their husband's name
Mm-hmm.
because I don't have any boys.
Mm-hmm. I always wanted only girls, so I thought about it. I'm like, I'm okay with it. And the hard thing is, I'm my dad's only son, so the name would die off with me. There's some good parts to the water pour. I think the finish got worse, but the palate got a little bit better. It kind of, I wouldn't say it was a bitter finish. It just was not as good.
It's I will say it hits differently because there is more vapor. It feels a little more like the alcohol vapor is there. So it's not that gentle goodnight. It's a little bit more of like, hey, I read the book. Lay down. We're done.
Yeah.
Mommy's gotta get ready for work tomorrow morning.
Yeah, totally.
But I love you. Love you. But go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gets a little bit harsher, but it doesn't have that like nice mellow kind of what you
Yeah.
But I kind of like it a little bit too. It's nice to get a little burn on it, a little alcohol.
Yeah, I think I prefer it neat, but this is like still good.
Yeah.
Still good.
There's nothing bad about this.
I don't know if I like the last one we had better. The barrel proof rye we had. I think I might like that better, to be honest. And that was only like a 4 or 5 year or something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna drop a cube in a moment.
Far in the hole. I know I love the bourbon. The bourbon was really good.
That was so strawberry notes and stuff.
Yeah,
it was great.
And I remember being because the bourbon was so good. I remember being slightly let down by the rye last time.
Okay, yeah. Hey, good memory.
Yeah, that's about as far as I'm very qualitative. I do like this a lot though. I really do. Like this is easy sipping. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's not what I typically think of in a rye for sure because I really like a
That's
rye.
A good
really
point.
Want more of like
sharper,
upfront, sharp, lots of those notes. Maybe cinnamon, maybe some of that spice. But this is. I think if you're going to transition from like a bourbon drinker, and I'm like, okay, you might like this. If they're not really into ryes, this is a good place to start. Nice and light. Yeah, this would be great for just like hanging out with your best friends.
Yeah.
Finish like 6 of you finish a bottle that night and it goes down easy and you're all laughing, having a good time.
This is not a hub to what whiskey to me, but it's good. It's very good. Yeah. Like nothing is like, dang, Wilderness Trail. I would say that about the bottled and bond bourbon, the weeded bourbon. That was pretty darn close to like hub to what at how light and yet fruity but in more of a strawberry way than an apple way. Yeah, it was good. But also no nose almost at all for the ice pour. I'm almost getting nothing. But I do prefer the ice pour at least to the water pour. It's just pleasant,
I get a little bit more like on the back end of the palate. I get a little more like peppery in the spice there.
Okay, I get that.
The sweetness isn't there, like it was with the other pours, and I get like almost towards a bitter side for it a little bit, but not bad. No, I think I go neat, water, iced.
Okay,
that's kind of where I'm at.
I think those berry notes show up a lot too.
With ice,
fresh berries and a mixed berry. Yeah, or with everything really, but especially with neat.
Yeah, Neat and water for sure. I just get it's definitely it's more of a spicy rye on the ice for me, but
Yeah.
not a lot of sweetness.
I think I formulated a rating.
I'm ready as well. What you got, Cole?
8.1.
Okay.
I like I said, it's not hub to what. I think I actually prefer both of the other Wilderness Trail options to this, and those are both like at least less than 6 years. And this one's being an 8-year. It wasn't blowing me away, which is okay. I think that it's still good, and an 8 range is still good. I wouldn't even put this in 7 at all. It's very good. But I actually wouldn't go out of my way to buy a bottle of a $90 bottle of this. So that's my rating, 8.1.
Yeah, I think the price tag does make it tricky, and the fact that it's like it's a rare bottle, right? Like
Totally.
is
That's
it
very rare. It's not even on their website. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go 8.4 though. I like it.
Nice.
I think it's
Okay.
not necessarily what I look for in a rye, but it's unique enough to where, like I said, like man, like I would love to have a bottle of this. Special occasion, just hanging out with like getting away for the weekend, going like sitting in the cabin, going hunting with the guys, like retiring in the evening, just easily finish a bottle of this with a couple of guys, handful of guys, handful. Probably should finish with a handful. Yeah, 8.4. I like it a lot. It's unique. It's a little bit different. It's good.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
good. So now that we got our ratings in, why don't we move it over to our next segment of the show that we like to call Whiskey World News.
And we're back. Part of the show we like to call Whiskey World News. We're going to read an article. We're going to talk about it. Didn't write. Going to read it. Going to talk. Here we go. This one comes from the Robb Report, which is like the greatest name for any report.
But it's got 2 B's. But your name has 2 B's when you spell it with a Y.
ROBB. Why'd they leave their Y off? Anyway, this one's titled The Whiskey Distillery in Ohio. This whiskey distillery in Ohio is live streaming the inside of its barrels as they age. If you blink, you won't miss much, actually. That's like the last little part there. Written by Jonah Flicker. An Ohio distillery is offering a singular experience at the boozy equivalent of watching paint dry. Hainer Distilling Company has launched its whiskey webcam program in which subscribers can choose a barrel of whiskey and live stream inside it as it ages via webcam over the course of 4 to 6 years. This is definitely for whiskey fans with a surplus of patience. Hainer's revival in old whiskey distillery was founded in 1866 but didn't survive Prohibition. The branch relaunched a few years ago and now works with Kentucky's Bardstown Bourbon Company to blend its whiskey based on a sample from an original Hainer bottle. The core expression consists of 13-year-old Kentucky bourbon, 4-year-old Bardstown Bourbon Company bourbon, 4-year-old MGP bourbon, and 3-year-old BBC bourbon. Hainer is also contracting and distilling new whiskey at BBC, and its 2 barrels in question for its whiskey webcam program were produced there, a 4-grain bourbon and a high rye bourbon. Here's how it works. Interested parties will pay $149 to subscribe to Hainer's whiskey webcam, $139 at first, and then another $10 in 4 to 6 years to get your bottle of bourbon.
Nice.
Along the way, you'll get a sample every year to try 24/7 access to the webcam and the other gifts like t-shirts, according to Hainer. The camera is sealed inside a port on the top of the barrel, and LED lights are used to illuminate the inside without emitting UV rays that could be harmful to the whiskey. The barrel aging on-site at Hainer in Troy, Ohio, not at BBC in Kentucky. I'll go and stop there. Actually, yeah, I'll stop there. Thoughts on that, Cole?
So you're saying you can't view it unless you're like a subscriber?
You've got to subscribe. Yep.
That's pretty cool. I actually think that's a good idea where you're like and then when you subscribe, you also get like a sample every so often. And
yeah.
I kind of dig that. The webcam doesn't. I mean, the webcam kind of completes it. I think the real cool thing is that you get to try as it ages, which I think is pretty cool. And so that's something I could get behind is like something where you're like part of it and you get to see. Like I've always wanted to know how like what Buffalo Trace would taste like at 3 years. I would love to see what that does or what, how it progresses. So I think that's a really cool idea. And I actually surprisingly think it's not just a gimmick. I think it's pretty cool.
Going into it, you're like, oh, this is stupid. $139? Really? And then it's like, oh, but you get the samples. You get a bottle at the end. Like, it is cool to see.
You're a part of it. You're a part of the aging of this whiskey.
it reminds me of the Bible verse where it says, like, don't boil a baby goat in its mother's milk.
Yeah,
Because
the old
you,
don't boil a baby goat in its mother's
yeah,
milk.
you get that sample and you pull the webcam up and you're like, I'm drinking the baby goat while I'm
Yeah,
watching the mother's milk.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
The other
deep,
thing,
man.
yeah. The other thing is, I wonder, like, for this whole process, if they like hired a proctologist to put a camera up the
Yeah,
bunghole, because they're good at
yep.
that. That's what they do.
Hmm.
So I wonder if they consult with a proctologist on it. But no, I think it's a
Yeah,
cool idea. And I think
yeah,
honestly, like, that would be like actually a really good Christmas gift for a whiskey drinker, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like, if you're
yeah. It's a great gift.
if you're listening, you might want to have your spouse listen to this and be like, "Hey, honey, there's a
Yeah.
good idea for a Christmas gift," because it's fun. I like it.
Or if you're a spouse like Patricia Ferguson, and you're like, hey,
Oh,
Miles might appreciate this. So
yeah,
I think that's our only like I believe we have a few women listeners, but I think that's like our only like
consistent.
wife of a
Well,
other listener.
Stacey Edwards
That's
will listen
true. That
sometimes.
is true. You got me there. So
Yeah,
Stacy, I got an idea for you.
actually, I
And
think
Patricia.
Jerome would like that a lot. I think
Yeah.
Miles would like that a lot.
Yeah.
Ladies,
Ladies.
hey,
Definitely not our
ladies,
women.
our
You're
women don't
like,
listen.
wait, you're still doing that whole thing?
Could you record yourself for an hour not saying anything? I'd like to listen to that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure like Heather would every now and then be like, I think I'll just listen to a episode of Chill Filter, and then she'll be like, oh, well, that was a waste of time or something like that.
So it's
Although
funny.
Heather very much likes more informative podcasts and ones that don't go on digressions. So I understand why she doesn't like
So the
or
funny
doesn't
thing
listen.
is, before I got on the podcast, Chelsea would listen to the Shooting the Breeze just to see what's up with Heather and Cole.
Nice.
And now that I'm on it, she doesn't even want to listen to that.
She's out.
She just wants my cliff notes at the end of the recording.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So,
All
well,
right.
I guess it's time to move over to our next segment of the show that we call "What Whiskey Would You
What did you
Choose?" So we
choose?
got some feedback and follow-ups from last week and last 2 weeks. So thank you for doing that, Robbie.
Well, here's the thing: is we
Mhm.
bottlenecked. We got two different ones here.
Yep.
Oh
We'll
boy.
go through them quick.
And so I tried to post it early because I knew we were going to be
Yeah.
recording early. However, I posted it right when I got to work, and I get bad reception, and it took forever to upload.
Oh,
So that
rough.
was weird. Yeah. So we
It's all
don't.
good.
It's incomplete at the
If we
time of recording.
ya, we apologize.
We do. So the first one was, what whiskey note is your least favorite, and which whiskey shows it the most? And I said vanilla. Cole said soapy. I went with Pendleton. He went with Black Maple Hill, Oregon Rye,
Rye.
and he won 79 to 20%. But that's the thing, is like, soapy is worse than vanilla. I know a lot. Like, there's not.
But
No
you
one's
don't
gonna
like
say
it.
I like. No one's gonna say I like soapy.
Yeah.
People will say they like vanilla. I just hate it. Like, when it's too much. No.
I mean,
So
I
Cole
can
wins.
drink Pendleton. I wouldn't love it, but I can drink it.
No,
I can't drink Oregon Rye from Black Maple Hill.
I'm not with you there, but anyway.
Yeah.
Brian Rapp, soapy over malty, Resurgence Rye. Miles
was it?
Ferguson, Resurgence Rye.
Never heard of it.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
Kilted 518, Miles Ferguson. I think it's a way over amount of pepper, almost any Wilmington, North Carolina era whiskey.
I hear that. He lives out there now.
Madtown marketer Bing Klepsig. Cigarette Ash.
Shout out. We haven't given him a baller shout out. But anyway.
He is one. He went with Cigarette Ash, Ardbeg Scorch Committee release. I can see that.
That was a letdown.
Yep. Dramhow just said Pete.
Pete. Sorry. He's an American guy.
He is. Bourbon Badger, Caleb Olson. Good to hear from you, Caleb.
Guy. Yeah.
Citrus. He doesn't like citrus, and he goes for Glen. It says Glenmorangie. I love citrus. I'm not with.
Yeah, it's big on.
Marco and AZ Soapy from Early Rocktown Distillery releases. It got better when they switched to big barrels.
Good.
We like big barrels. We cannot deny
about those big barrels, except for if you're Whiskey Del Bach, who apparently nails it.
Mm-hmm. And our good friend John
Gallons,
Voldemort Hughes, Play-Doh. Yep. Certain craft whiskeys give me a strong Play-Doh vibe. I loved eating Play-Doh when I was a kid.
Ah, so you wouldn't mind this?
I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, give me the Play-Doh any time of day. Then we said, What whiskey note is your favorite, and which whiskey shows it the most? I went with Cole went with candy apple, and went with
Yep.
Weller Special Reserve.
Yep.
I went with
Always
cinnamon with Willet Rye, and as of right now, we are tied.
You won.
50-50.
Oh,
We're
really?
tied
Okay, you
50-50.
won last time
because
I checked. Yeah.
this is active right now. It's currently up and running. So we'll see later how it goes.
Nice.
Some responses: Brian Rapp, Peanuts, Dickel, 14-year Bottle and Bond.
Nice.
Miles Ferguson, Candy Cinnamon, Sherry, Templeton, 6-year-old. Madtown Marketer Ben Klebs, Cherries, Remus Volstead Reserve. Mark Bonazi, Caramel Bomb from a Knob Creek 115 proof rye store pick. And John
Nice.
Voldemort Hughes, certain Elijah Craig barrel proof dark chocolate covered cherry.
Ooh, that sounds
And
great.
honestly, Cole, we gotta make sure we go back to these responses just to, like, if we can find something that we think is along those lines, we can make sure we get those notes to these guys. So that's that. Cool.
That's great.
This week, we're in the Christmas season. We've talked about Christmas a lot.
We are.
And you know what? In order to make it to the next episode, which is the episode before Christmas, the episode after that comes out the Monday after Christmas, but we're going to go Christmassy on you. And I want to know, what whiskey is Santa Claus sipping when he comes to your house? What whiskey are those chillins leaving out for you to give to Santa?
I mean, something came to my mind immediately.
Okay.
And maybe it's because of what we're drinking today. But I think Santa should have something that is accessible and soft, like he is. Accessible and soft.
Santa
and I think he should be drinking Wilderness Trail 100 proof weeded bourbon. So
okay.
Bottle and Bond, baby. Just
you know
like
what?
he is. Mm-hmm.
I think what I might do is I might make a run to the liquor store with the children and let them pick another little mini out.
Nice.
So who knows what they're going to leave for them. But because one child already did, I don't want to say too much about it, but I am enjoying.
Hey, Santa is not against. It is not specifically an American man.
He likes to go
He's
in there.
a North Pole man.
My Santa Claus at my house is going to be drinking Glenlivet 12 because that's what Finley picked. So I'm going to go with that. Yeah.
Did you go with Finley and Juniper or just Finley?
I think it was just Finley that time. Or Juniper was not putting up the fight for wanting to pick one.
Nice.
So here's the thing. We go to the liquor store if I take them with me and they want to push the shopping cart around. I'm like, we're not buying a shopping cart worth of stuff, hon.
Yeah. It's hard to do.
And on top of that, I don't want you pushing the shopping cart with like bottle displays around. Like I really don't even want to bring you into the liquor store. But I don't want to leave you in the car like a bad parent going into a liquor store with their kids
at the liquor store. You're like, hey, kids, stay here while I go into the liquor store. So I respect that.
Do you? Is it respectable?
Yeah. No, I like that. That's a good. I think it's more respectable to take your kid into the liquor store than leave them in the car.
Movie Sweet Home Alabama. You brought your baby to a bar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway. I think
next week,
bring the reason you drink to where you get your drink.
Yeah.
That's my line.
So next week we are going to forego a midwinter dram this year, but we have something in mind, and if the courier is kind enough, we will get it by the time we record. But we are thinking, thanks to Joel Bradbury, our Tasmanian listener, our Tasmanian friend, we will hopefully. Yeah, thank you. You're good at that today.
Well, you do a lot of talking. You remember all the people we got to shout out, and I got to do is
and that's a good ding. So ding for Joel Bradbury sending us Redbreast 27 recently. So I have both those samples, and if I send it over to Robby via courier, hopefully that'll arrive by the time we record next week, and we can drink that, which is kind of like a big deal. And I feel like a Christmas episode should have a big deal of whiskey, and so Irish 27-year-old port finished whiskey sounds amazing to me. So we'll do that, and we'll hopefully do that. We'll have a backup that's hopefully cool otherwise, but just in case it doesn't happen. But keep that in mind for next week, and then we'll be opening the Christmas gifts. So if you did want to send us something, maybe Amazon Prime us something or something that's quick. So Otherwise, we're grateful. And otherwise, I hope our listeners know how much we appreciate them.
Cole, I hope your boss knows how much you appreciate being employed.
Yes, I hope that everyone knows how grateful I am to have money still coming in.
But most of all, listeners, I hope our love of whiskey lifted your spirits. You want a mohawk, Dad, because you'll look cool.